I turned 18 last month, and for 19 years, my family has been living in debt. When my parents got married, my father wasn't really a man who made a lot of money. In fact, he even got married was a surprise to a lot of his relatives because my father was an orphan child. He had nobody aside from a few uncles and a stepmother, a horrible one. But he got married and got into debt because he had to arrange money for the wedding to take place. It all started back then. My parents paid off the debt by selling my mother's marriage jewelry, which is a very, very sad thing. But that's the brutal reality of life. As I was born and then my younger brother was born, my parents needed money because my parents, being the best parents and very angelic people, they wanted us to have the best living conditions, best stationery, best education, and everything else. I'm forever grateful for that. And they lend, no, they borrow money from a few lenders, a few private lenders here and there. And my father's salary, truthfully, isn't enough to pay interest or give the money back and keep the bills paid and the house, the home running. So they start borrowing more money, and at this point, they are borrowing more than they are able to return. And after a few years of this happening, it's not even about having the money or getting the money in your hands or borrowing it to pay the bills, to pay for education. It's about paying previous borrowed money or interest of the previously borrowed money. And that, my friends, is called the depth, the depth spiral. You know, you start spiraling down and down and down into debt, more and more debt, unless and until you increase your income by a lot. Well, my family wasn't able to pay off the debt entirely, but with God's grace, my father was able to almost 10x his income in the next 1.5 decades. And that helped the family to a bit, but now we are still living in debt. I see my mother crying every single day because of how much the private lenders torment her mentally, and we are helpless. Banks don't really try to mess you up so bad mentally. They try to take away your belongings, your home, your land, your vehicles, but they don't torment you mentally a lot. Whereas if you borrow money from people, private lenders, they will do every single thing they can to get the money out of you. And it means a lot. My parents have been very courageous. My mother has been very courageous to fight all of that back. But in the last half a decade, I've not seen a day pass by where my mom has not cried or shed a tear. I've seen the worst of the worst. The only reason I'm, in fact, alive today after living such a terrible and a tough life is because my parents have lived a tougher one. My pain is nothing compared to my parents, and that's the reason I choose to live on. That's the reason I wake up with ambition in my eyes to make something out of this life to help my parents. And this channel is going to be a documentary, or I mean, a documentation of that. Loan sharks getting hundreds of calls, and I'm not even joking at this point. Seeing your mom deal with hundreds and hundreds of calls every single day, which starts at like 5 a.m., ends at like 11, 12 p.m. in the night. People tormenting her, calling her names, cursing her, and you going to courts, you having cases on yourself because people are now going legal against you because you're not able to pay off their money. When you see all of this happens, it breaks you from inside. And this video is not, I'm just trying to warn you here, just as a note. This video is not a act for sympathy. This video is not a video I'm putting out there for people to sympathize with me or feel bad for me. I want to tell you guys that if you are living a tough life, you are not alone in this. And the last thing you need to do is be on your knees in front of your life. A few instances that really broke me, I'll tell you about them. One was 1 or 2 years ago. I went to give an EMI to this private loan shark, and I went on my scooter, the family bike, we can say. He was there, he counted the money, and in his mind, he thought it's not enough. He asked me for the keys of my bike as in a favor. He wanted to go to a shop and he wanted to buy something. In act of kindness, I gave him the keys and he said, "Go back home. I'm keeping your bike because you're not paid enough money back." Tears start rolling in my eyes and I call my mother. I tell her this has happened and she breaks down and she asks me to give the phone to the shark. For the next 15 minutes, she's crying, begging, shouting for the loan shark to give our bike back. And eventually, he does. After 15 minutes of our mother begging, he does. I go back home, crying, shedding tears, and just thinking of why this is happening to the kindest person I've ever met, which is my mother. In my life, I've met a lot of people. I have even heard a lot of people, about great conquerors, about great philosophers. But I've never met a person as kind as my mother. My mother is genuinely such a kind person, and seeing her like that was heartbreaking. I decided that day I would do something, but I did not. I failed to do anything. I made attempts, but I just gave up. A lot of instances similar to this happened when one day police showed up at our home. We were getting ready for school, me and my brother. My mother was packing lunches for us, and police shows up. They tell my mother, "You have to come with us." And my mother just breaks down because of the amount of shame she thinks it has brought to our family. That everyone in the neighborhood can see the police car being outside of our home and how bad she feels about it. She begs the policeman to not take her, and she'll just and they can just go back to their station and she'll come in 5 minutes. She doesn't want to go in the police car, but they take her with them anyways. My mother spends one day in jail. Not one day, but 4 to 5 hours. And that's one of the worst times of her life. One of the worst hours of her life spent, she has told me. All of these instances I've told you about, I want to tell you guys one thing. If these things happened to a lot of people, they would have killed themselves. But my mother has been alive. She has thrived in life. Sorry, the video cut off, but my mother is a very courageous person, and so is my father. They lived a very traumatic life, whether it was childhood or adulthood, or life as parents or as a couple. The only reason I am alive is because of them. I lived a very tough life too because my parents were amazing parents but never a good enough couple. And it affected to a very great degree to us. I'm sorry, sentence didn't make sense. But it affected me and my brother to a very great degree. And me being the elder one, I tried my best to protect my brother from every single thing. I have seen a lot, from domestic violence to suicide attempts, self harm. The reason I choose to live, the reason I choose to live on is because I see my parents. And if they choose to live for us, why can't I live for them? I want to give my parents their life back. I'm very calm in this video, but I'm a very ambitious man. Anyone who has lived a similar life to the one I have lived, maybe your parents were in debt, you had a very tough childhood, you weren't born strong, rich, powerful. I want to tell you guys there is hope. There is a fire inside of you that you need to ignite and make it bigger and bigger every single passing day so you live a better life. This channel is going to be your way towards life. This channel is going to be every single thing I wished I had. This channel is going to be every single value I wished I had, every single advice I wished I was given. Every single thing about mental strength, building resilience, building confidence, living life with your own terms, not being on your knees in front of life, having your life on its knees in front of you. And that's it. That is what this channel is about. I haven't uploaded in about a very long time. In fact, in about a month now. But this video is going to be the continuation. If you want to join me in this journey of building utter self mastery, utter mental mastery, mental resilience, you want to be a strong man. Maybe you weren't genetically gifted, maybe you weren't gifted in wealth, in strength, in mental strength, maybe you were a crybaby. You want to emerge as a greater man. This channel is for you. You want to get closer to me, talk to me, you want to know every single thing that I did to come to this point where I am much more sorry. You make mistakes when you're recording after such a long time. I bit my tongue, in fact. If you want to be a greater man, especially mental mastery, and you want to talk to me one on one, you want courses, you want exact guidelines, you want exact protocols to become a man which is mentally the strongest of itself, of himself, then you can join the depth order with the link in description. Every single week I'll be posting 3 videos, maybe more if I think it's necessary. I plan to make this channel a way of getting my family out of debt too. I will be very real with you guys. If anyone is watching this video to this point, I'm telling you, you should start your own channel and discuss and talk about your own sufferings in life and how it made you a greater man. Never will I ever post, or I recommend you to post, to gain sympathy or awes of people. Show people the pain you had, but show them what that pain forged you into. And that is the point of this channel. Helping traumatized and broken men become their best selves. That is the point of this channel. If that mission aligns to you, join the depth order. Link will be in the description. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. We were never born warriors. We were never born the strongest, but we live as a fighter and we die as one.